So let us move on to the next lecture. This flash lecture will be delivered by Pavle Zelić, Master of Pharmacy. Pavle works as the International Cooperation and Public Relations Manager in Medicines and Medical Devices Agency of Serbia. He will deliver a lecture drawing attention, education, and communication against falsified medicines. Falsified medicines represent a global threat all over the world. Lately, Internet has become a marketplace for these dangerous products. And as young adults are a perfect target group that buy supplement for weight loss or muscle building, an educative campaign made through the comic book game Lana Taffy was created. Pavle, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I hope you hear me. Is it okay? Okay. Then I will start right away because I have very little time and a lot of slides. So the idea is to show you, just a second, what I believe is the most important issues concerning the trust and the belief in national regulatory experts who will stop the falsified medicines from reaching our patients. But unfortunately, this is not something that we can do on our own. We need to fight the misunderstanding, the conspiracy theories concerning the pharmaceutical mafia. I'm going to say it out loud, but of course this is the real mafia that we're dealing with, which is involved in falsified medicines. People buy falsified medicines for many reasons, because first of all they don't believe that they're buying falsified products and they think it's okay to do that and it's easy, but these are all the wrong reasons to do it. Also, they think that the sentiment is okay, that there is ethics, ease, and many other issues that can enable them to reach these medicines without problem. Many markets are overflown with this type of product, especially in Africa and Southeast Asia. And of course, the good pharmacy practice doesn't help if the good pharmacy practice looks like this. Then, of course, the World Health Organization assumes that about 50% of medicines sold all over the net are... Oh, you don't see me. Sorry. Okay. I thought that you could see me. Maybe I hope it's okay now. But I hope that at least you can have heard me. Okay, Eva, is everything okay? Okay. So now I'll continue where I stopped, and now you can see the beautiful paintings by a young friend of mine who is, I think, 10 now. So around 50% of medicines sold over the internet are fake, and you can see the average percentage of the market consumed by falsified medicines in the slide. Then next thing is, of course, the roads, the way these medicines reach Europe. This is something borrowed by my Polish colleague, that's why it's partly in Polish. And the source of these medicines is usually in the Far East and goes through Middle East and reaches the Western Europe countries, but most of Europe as well. What is falsified? All type of medicines, mostly antibiotics, which is surprising. You would think that it's mostly some anabolic steroids or some potency pills, but that's not the case. Actually, all the type of medicines are falsified, and it can be without active ingredient or with incorrect amount of active substance, or some copies or products with large amount of impurities. This is once again the percentage of different type of medicines, but as I said, all medicines are falsified. There is no group which is excluded from this. And when we talked about impurities, we can find even heavy metals, poisons like antifreeze or rat poison, road paint, wall paint, brick dust, and many other things in this product, which is actually quite amazing that people would put them in their own mouths in their common sense. So, but they don't know what is inside. It's very difficult to define falsified medicines today, difficult to spot them. Only experienced pharmacists and of course national control laboratories can fully tell you what is true or false, and why the criminals do it, of course, because, for example, monoclonal antibodies, they can invest $1,000 and gain $450,000 per investment. That's why the criminals do it. But of course, not getting you any ideas about this. Then we have the issues of definition, which I won't go into many details, and in Serbia, who is dealing with this, Ministry of Health and Ministry of Agriculture, and of course the agency, and how to report them in Serbia, and which is the connection of the road we must pass when we want to examine such a case. But I want to get as fast as possible to the fun part of this lecture. Of course, we need to have good networking. That's something I want to emphasize nevertheless, and to have good reporting, so that everybody involved, from the major international organizations to and initiatives to individual officers in the field, can know what to do. Then this is the SPOC signal, single point of contact system, established by the EDQM, the Council of Europe, the European Directorate of Quality of Medicines and Healthcare, and it works very well, and it's implemented in many European countries, Serbia and Croatia among them, and many others. But as I said, it is essential to do the chemical analysis of the product to be completely sure that it is fake. Otherwise, we can never be completely sure. How do we do it? We do it in Serbia in our national control laboratories. We have pictures there. And we cooperate with our international partners all over the world, international organizations, our bilateral partners. We always talk about falsified medicines, especially in the Balkan region, when we talk about the medicines and international cooperation, and we have many other partners. This is just something that we do from Serbia, but of course this is all interconnected worldwide. And what we did recently is try to change the type of educational materials that we use to advertise the messages that we want to convey, and we wanted to do something different, but incorporate all the images that you see here. And what we made comic books. If you know what comic books are, I hope you do. These were something that we were raised upon when we were a little bit in the old days, but I think that it is still influential today, and you can see comic book movies all the time. You can see the Popeye, who advertised spinach and increased the spinach consumption in the young, which is also good. And many other examples. I won't go into detail because I don't have enough time, of serious institutions and serious messages conveyed through comic books, even in the Council of Europe. Also, when we started this initiative with the Council of Europe and Italian Medicines Agency, we tried to incorporate the gaming concept as well. So it will be a comic book, but also a game. It can be played like a game online. And we based this on messages developed and the methodology developed by the psychologists at the University of Rome and Venice, who helped us build this really complicated thing that looks easy when you read it. So this is the key message that we want, the picture that I want you to remember. There's a line of just to see if okay, so you see this line of these fake pills that reach from this horrible manufacturing site with this Disney-like but still hideous rat eating the active pharmaceutical ingredient, which is also fake, and leading to the room of this little girl who found some strange-looking, yummy pills that she thinks is edible at the room of her older brother, who is using anabolic steroids. So this is a key message, this is a key image. And as I said, we have many experts who participated in this project, and we call it the Medicrime Comics, or the Open Minds, Free Minds Comics, with aimed at 2 age groups, 8 and 11 and 12 and 15, and then we made a third comic book which is aimed at everybody, even the older population, especially the ones who remember the specific style of a comic book that we used, and we wanted to use it as webcomic, as PDF and print version, and we really thought a lot about how making this. We made this publication that explains the counterfeit medicines, the falsified medicines, the teaching concept, how to use it in the classroom for teachers, and many other information that is there, and of course the comic book themselves. So the final product looks like this. This is Lana Taffy. She is the super heroine. Well, I'm looking like a little bit like her. So this is the female version of me, in a sense, a fighter against falsified medicines, a role model for kids. She's strong, she's determined, and she catches the criminals. So this is something that we learn about the shady machinations of the falsified medicines world, and Lana Taffy fighting it, and then we move to specific cases, what can happen if you get in touch with falsified medicines. And you can see many people who were participating in this project, and you can see, well, this one is in Serbian, but we also have several other versions. You can see the characters, you can see the situations, the manufacturing, production of falsified medicines, the market in Africa with fake medicines sold openly, then the typical Serbian, Italian, UK, Croatian, whatever family getting a special delivery, and etc. And you can see the super criminal express man who is stealing the medicines from the sick to give them to the healthy. It looks funny, it looks absurd, but it's actually reality, because we had criminals stealing medicines from the hospitals, stealing the medicines from the ones who needed them, and then placing them on the black market. So this is actually the part of realistic situation. And then you have Domenico and me. This is Domenico, and that's something that's supposed to look like me, appearing as characters in our own comic book. Then we had several other stories based on real life experiences in Italy and Serbia. A little girl, as I mentioned her before, getting the pills from her older brother. Then some teenagers also in being tested to use slimming products, or to use products that enhance their muscular power. And I mentioned the gaming concept. The gaming concept is that you choose what the characters will do. You see the questions on each page, and then you click on the appropriate answer, and you go in one or other direction. There will be the right or the wrong one. So this is rereadable. So you would read it several times and find out new pathways to the story each time. So this is what we wanted to do. And then I'm just going to show a couple of slides. We actually did a lot of test trials with the help of our student colleagues, student organizations from Belgrade, Novi Sad, and Niš, and we did several promotions around Serbia until we did the initial promotion, the big public campaign in 2015, and then it never stopped from here. Oh, here is Boris, the author of the comic book. Well, he was a little bit shy to sign the comic books until a lot of young pretty ladies, and he's also very young, started asking for his autograph. So that was the also fun element. And when we did a lot of promotions with this teaching material, and well, actually this is quite old. We did much more in the meantime, and this is also one of the examples of that. And then finally we did several promotions around many other countries. I'm just going to reach out for a copy of this comic book so you can see how it looks in Serbia. So see, it's a really nice comic book. I actually used it today to give a lecture at the Festival of Health in Belgrade. So I had like 200 kids there, and it was very successful. I think they learned a lot. They were mostly teenagers. So many other promotions on the international level. I'm getting finally to the end of my presentation, and of course with cooperation with our student organizations, as I mentioned already there. And then you see these final images of kids drawing Lana Taffy, learning, and of course Domenico and me in Italy. And this is the African version, and these are the last slides with some also different situations going on in these countries. So we tried to, as I already shown this slide, try to really expand on the raising awareness issue. And of course that doesn't mean that we don't do the enforcement activities as well. And I will thank you, and I think I'm right in my time, and then I will be of course very happy to take any questions.
Thank you. And as we are waiting from the question from our participants, I have one question for you. So whose idea was it to use comics?
Oh, well, it was funny. It was a joint idea of Domenico and me because we were in Strasbourg and driving. Well, he's a really hot shot. He's a worldwide famous expert on falsified medicine. And then I'm right next to him in the tram in Strasbourg, going back from EDQM to the center of the city. So he's Italian. What can I talk to him about? I can talk about football and comic books, because these are the connections between Serbia and Yugoslavia and Italy. So I started talking about comic books, which is something that I do professionally as well. And then he said, yeah, I wanted to do some comic books. So actually it is his initial idea that I made possible with my experience, because I wrote the script and I found the artists. So Domenico gave the idea, then I made it possible after several years of him trying to make something like that.
Thank you for the answer. And I have another question coming from my colleague. So how did the students and pupils react to this concept?
Well, they react, thank you for the question, it's an excellent one. They react very well because it's difficult from different groups. For example, it's very difficult with the younger children. I usually take the earliest one, 10, 11 years old, and then you have to gain their trust. Once I was in this primary school, I gave a lecture for 1.5 hours. I was sweating, I couldn't breathe. It was so difficult because they didn't trust me. They were very suspicious. They were very difficult to be calm during the presentation, and then started asking me questions and questions, and finally they told me an incredible thing, that somebody was selling over Facebook some slimming pills and some anabolic steroids and bringing them to the school yard. So we actually, based on this particular lecture and the trust and the relationship I got with these kids, I got some really useful information, and they led me to a particular case, so we were able to stop this. It's like somebody bringing drugs to the schoolyard. For me, the same, because this is very, very dangerous. So thanks to this project, we had some really good enforcement activities as well, but also I had really wonderful experiences, because I always see the spark in the eyes of these kids who listen, who understand, and who really try to apply. There are some teenagers who don't really want to listen and to spend the whole class speaking about falsified medicines, but they are in the minority. And finally, the students at the faculty, especially faculty of pharmacy, I speak to them on a different level. They have to be advocates of these messages, so I have the best experience with them as well.
Thank you for your answer. And we have some questions coming from the participants.
Okay.
Victoria wonders if we can find the comic book online.
Yes, it's found on the Alim's, in Serbian it's on Alim's web page. It can be found also on EDQM web page in English, and I think some other countries, I think Poland and Denmark should be having them also in their websites. It's open. Several, I think more than 10 countries signed the agreement to translate it, to get permission by the EDQM, who owns the rights to the comic book, to translate them. I know now we're finishing the Slovakian version, the Armenian version, so practically EDQM is the birthplace, but also several other countries that I mentioned before have it on I think their websites. I'm going to go back to that page, but it's going to be a while. Anyway, yeah, here it is. So, oops, stop. Okay. This goes too fast. Anyway, next question.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, while we're waiting for you to find the links, maybe...
Yeah, well, I don't have the links, but I have the countries. So, okay. Austria, Switzerland, Poland, Denmark, definitely Italy as well. And it should be on some other countries, but EDQM definitely, but I don't have the link here, but you can find it very easily.
So we have another question. So which organizations can sponsor educational programs?
Well, as you can see, we got support from EDQM, or the Council of Europe. Then we have support by, well, in this case, also European Union through some funded projects, fake share project as well in run by Italy. So some of the authorities also can help. Of course, our agency in Serbia invested a lot in this as well. I'm just going to find the slide. Well, you can see the Council of Europe, Italian Medicines Agency, and the Serbian agency. Then the World Health Organization as well is very much involved in this issue. And I also think the heads of medicines agencies in European Union countries are interested, and there are some also activities done on, so you can see the fake share, the European Union, the Council of Europe, ALIMS, and Italian agency. So these are the sponsors of this particular campaign. But as I said, WHO is an excellent place, and heads of medicines agencies and some other authorities, ASOP, Association for Safe Online Pharmacies as well, UK and internationally based, and many others. But it's easy to find. Another question?
So, yeah, our time passed, so we won't accept any questions, and the participants don't seem to have any anymore. So I would like to thank you for your lecture, and it was very well, and we should all try some kind of approach like this in our country.
Please, and anything I can do to help, I'm here, of course, and you have my contacts. Okay, bye.